A mere 12 years ago, a slightly shorter version of myself saw the amazing movie School of Rock. And in seeing Jack Black drunkenly stage dive into a sparsely populated crowd at a bar gig, in that moment I knew guitar was for me. For the best part of a year, I saved as much money as I could in the hopes of buying an electric guitar, the coolest type of guitar. I'd look at the instrument section in the Argos catalogue at guitars that would probably go out of tune if you looked at them the wrong way, but that didn't matter. I didn't know what out of tune even meant. Eventually, I saved up just enough, and a few days after Christmas, I had enough to buy a Volcano Strat Copy starter pack. But as fate would have it, the day we went to the shop to buy one, they were out of stock. Disaster. Or so I thought. Funny enough, about 9 years later I got the chance to play a Volcano, and I genuinely do believe that it was polystyrene coated in hard plastic for the body. It was bad. Upon seeing my disappointment with the guitar being out of stock, my dad remembered that there was a market where a guy used to sell some guitars in the town. So we went there, and I still remember the second-hand smoke of the market and turning the corner and seeing 4 guitars, a white, a red, a blue, and a black Washburn X series. They were each part of a starter pack, and I chose the black one. For €130, I got a guitar, a little small 15-watt practice amp, a couple of cables, a few picks, and a strap. I still have a couple of picks from that pack, and this is what they look like now. Bear in mind that these were normal full-size picks, and they were the only picks that I had at the time. I played a lot. So today, for a bit of fun, I thought we'd take a look back and have a look at my first guitar rig and see if it's good. Starting with the guitar, it's surprisingly very good. It's likely a basswood body, maple neck, and a rosewood fretboard with 24 frets. It's got a 2-point tremolo and, something that surprises me to this day, Grover tuners. A humbucker in the bridge and a single coil in the neck and middle with a 5-way switch. A nice versatile setup and the pickup combination I'd recommend to a beginner. Now onto the practice amp. This little guy isn't great. It's apparently 15 watts. It's got gain with an optional gain boost if you want to sound even more like bees in a tin can. Volume high, which needs to be turned down a lot. Mid and low, which needs to be maxed out to get the one usable sound this amp has. It's also got a headphones output for silent practicing. The amp really only has one usable sound, and that's low gain, kind of a crunch type thing. Anything more on the gain side of things and it sounds even worse than it kind of already does. It's a 6-inch speaker, so you can't expect much from this, but with that said, I have done a couple of small gigs with this, and they were 2.5-hour sets, so this did its job above and beyond what it was meant to do anyway. So let's hear it with some riffs that I would have been playing at the time that I had this amp as a main amplifier. I was shocked at how it sounded on listening back. That's close mic'd with a SM57 clone. And the reason I was so shocked at what it sounded like is because it really doesn't sound like that in the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 2 clips. One with a close mic'd, and then the next with the camera mic of what it sounds like in the room. There was no post-editing on the sound there, that was just what it sounded like mic'd up. It doesn't sound like that in the room, it sounds much more like the camera mic. And remember when I said you shouldn't trust tone demos on YouTube? That's why. When I was a beginner guitarist, I didn't know anything about effects. I just knew that they made you sound cool and probably would make you play better, or at least sound better. That's what I thought at the time anyway. And after about a year of playing, as a reward for doing well in school, my parents got me a gift. A Digitech RP50, the most powerful processor in its class. Expand your sonic boundaries with award-winning amp models and effects processing. They never tell you what awards they win, do you ever notice that? Now these really don't have the best reputation, and it's understandable why. They don't sound the best, and the user interface really isn't nice to use. But this is a budget product from 2006, and for €39, it goes above and beyond what it was meant to do. It features 12 amp and acoustic guitar models, cabinet modeling, 10 effects at once. Not sure why you'd want 10 effects at once, but you know, it's there. 24-bit ADA converters, built-in drum machine, which is really actually important, chromatic tuner, and 40 user and 40 factory presets. My beginner rig consisted of a Washburn X series guitar in through a Digitech RP50 and then into the little Washburn 15 watt amp. And it wasn't terrible. The sounds that you're hearing are the factory presets from the Digitech RP50, and some sound a lot better than others. But there are a lot that inspire. There's also some very unusual but usable effects. My favourite is the talk box. And last but not least, the best part about this pedal for a beginner, in my opinion anyway, is the built-in drum machine. For a beginner, there's nothing more important than being able to play in time, and a drum machine is a lot more fun than a metronome, and it can spur on creativity, turning a riff into a song. For this sound clip that you're going to hear, I put the RP50 into the return of the Victory Kraken and then into the Zilla 2x12. The reason is I kind of wanted to hear what it would sound like on a much bigger setup than a 6-inch speaker. And the answer is bassy. Very, very bassy. It's got too much bass. All the presets on the RP50 have got a lot of bass, which is important, and it works well with tiny speakers that sound really thin, but through an oversized 212 you'll hear bass rumbling, and you can hear it in the recording. But focus on the drums. That makes practicing fun, and you can play in time, and then you can write songs with it. Turns a riff into a song. I've got a lot of expensive gear here, but without this guitar, I wouldn't be playing any of it. I could have got that Volcano Strat, and would it have stayed in tune when I played it? from the one that I played a few years later, the answer is no. So it would have probably made me give up on guitar. So without this guitar, I probably wouldn't be talking to you. Without this rig, I probably wouldn't be talking to you today. And I checked, and even adjusting for inflation, I don't think I could match this rig and the versatility of it with the same money today. In closing, it's actually pretty good, and that's not just nostalgia. It seems to do everything and more that it was meant to. Alright, so that's all I've got for you today. Subscribe if you want to subscribe, like the video if you want to like it, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye bye!